The U.S. Amateur FourBall Championship has gained in popularity since its 2015 debut. It started a little slowly, probably owing to the fall qualifying for a spring event in a lot of places. But the USGA knew how popular better ball partners events are on the local and state levels and just figured it was time to take it to a national stage. That's what drew all sorts of women teams to Waynesborough Country Club and Rolling Green Golf Club Monday for a pair of local qualifiers administered by the Golf Association of Philadelphia, with the goal to get a starting time for the 2018 U.S. Amateur FourBall Championship, which tees off May 19th at the famed Jupiter Hills Club in DeQuesta, FLA. The start of play was delayed at both sites as rain left over from Sunday finally stopped, only to be replaced by chilly temperatures and a fierce wind, and the 3/4 while playoff at Waynesborough didn't finally conclude until Tuesday morning. But one thing was never in doubt at Waynesborough, and that was the identity of the qualifying medalists. The St. David's Golf Club pair of Brian Gillespie and Stephen Dressel, pretty sure both starred scholastically at Conestoga, but more than a decade apart, fired a 7-under par 64 over the 6,848-yard, par 71 Waynesborough layout to finish 2 shots ahead of the pack and punch their ticket to Jupiter Hills. Both were coming off solid summers on the Gap circuit. The 29-year-old Dressel finished tied for second in the Gap Middle Amateur Championship at Overbrook Golf Club, and the 42-year-old Gillespie finished tied for third in the Patterson Cup at Wilmington Country Club's South Course and finished in the top 5 in the Silver Cross standings. Gap's Stroke Play Championship. It will be the first USGA event for Dressel, while Gillespie will be teeing it up in his 7th USGA Championship, including a spot in the inaugural US FourBall in 2015 at the Olympic Club in San Francisco when he partnered with Little Mill Country Club's Michael Hyland. Dressel and Gillespie got it going when they both birdied the 5th hole, Dressel draining a 30-footer. It was an easy birdie for Gillespie at the par 5 7th as he was just short and 2, chipped to 4 feet and dropped the putt. Gillespie then holed a 20-foot birdie putt at the 8th and the team made the turn at 3 under. Dressel did the rest. He birdied 12, 13 and 15 and then finished with a flourish, reaching the par 5 18 and 2 with a driver and a hybrid of and 2 putting for a birdie. "I was just trying to keep us in our lane," Gillespie told the Gap website. "When he gets going, boy, he really gets going. It was fun to watch it happen and I was there in case he needed me." After that, things got a little messy at Waynesborough as former North Carolina teammates Brandon Dalinka and Bailey Patrick and 2 Philadelphia Cricket Club pairs, Sean Siments and Jack Wallace and Conrad Von Borsig and Robbie Walliser, all carded 5-under 66s. With the early delay, daylight was in short supply, but the 3 teams were willing to give it a go. Dalinka, who plays out of the ridge at Backbrook, drilled a wedge to 2 feet on the first playoff hole, the par 4 first hole at Waynesborough, and made the putt to punch the ticket to Jupiter Hills for himself and Patrick of Charlotte, North Carolina. At the second hole, Wallace's drive disappeared into the darkness of a Halloween Eve. Siments was able to make par and Walliser hold the par putt with the green being illuminated by car headlights. Saw that image on Twitter, and that alone is a pretty good argument for following Gap on Twitter. Just saying, the 2 teams had to call it a day at that point. They were back at it at 8 a.m. Tuesday and both made par on 8. Everybody involved made bogey at the 9th, with Siments and Walliser 3-putting. It finally ended on the first hole, the 5th of the playoff. Von Borsig and Walliser both came up short of the green and had testy par putts, both of which lipped out. Siments made his 3-foot par putt to send him and Wallace, who also teamed up at the Olympic Club in 2015, to Florida in May. It was a tough month of October for Von Borsig, whose scholastic career at Strathaven I chronicled in a previous life at the Delco Daily Times. It looked like he was going to make match play in the U.S. Mid-Amateur Championship earlier in the month when he made a triple bogey on his last hole of qualifying, the 9th at Atlanta National Golf Club, to miss a 25 for 16 playoff by a shot. Von Borsig and Walliser are the first alternates. Samuel Banks of Glen Allen, VA, and Marco Pocci of Richmond, Virginia are the second alternates as they carded a 4-under 67. Heading the list of near misses was the formidable pairing of 3-time BMW Philadelphia Amateur Champion Michael McDermott of Marion Golf Club and 2014 Philly Amateur Champion Jeff Osberg of Huntingdon Valley Country Club, who carded a 3-under 68. It figured to be a good spot since Osberg is pretty familiar with a golf course where his dad Rick was the head pro for many years. McDermott and Osberg qualified for the 2016 U.S. FourBall at Winged Foot Golf Club, but failed to make match play. Less than a month later they waged an epic battle in a Philly amateur final for the ages at Marion's famed East Course, with McDermott winning on the 36th hole. Nice to see the Overbrook Golf Club brother tandem of James and Michael Kania, both former Haverford School standouts, give it a go at Waynesborough. Team Kania posted a 1/72. Over at Rolling Green, the William Flynn Gym in Springfield, Delaware County, only 2 tickets to Jupiter Hills were available and 2 teams of out-of-towners grabbed them. Lifelong friends from Westwood, Mass, John Lazor, a junior at Dartmouth, and Patrick Frodi, a senior at Elon, and the Scholastic team of Jack Kozlowski of Columbus, Ohio, and Trey Rath of Powell, Ohio, were co-medalists in the 2 qualifiers as each duo posted a 4 under 66 on the 6,713-yard, par 70 Rolling Green layout, site of the 2016 U.S. Women's Amateur. Both teams came into town Saturday, Lazor and Frodi flying from their respective campuses and Kozlowski and Rath driving 8 hours from Ohio. I'm guessing a parent or 2 did most of the heavy lifting driving-wise and got in a practice round on a rainy Sunday, although it didn't seem to bother all those Eagles fans watching their beloved Birds beat the 49ers at the Link to improve to 71. The highlight of the round for the 21-year-old Lazor and the 22-year-old Frodi was Frodi blasting a 7-iron from 185 yards into the par 5 7th hole to 3 feet and making the putt for eagle. Kozlowski, a 17-year-old junior at St. Charles Prep, and Rath, an 18-year-old senior at Olentangy Liberty High, started the round on the 10th hole and rode a Kozlowski hot streak in the middle of the round to get a berth for Jupiter Hills. Kozlowski made 3 straight birdies at 17, 18 and 1 to spark the Ohio teens. The first alternate is the tandem of Gary Schumann of Delray Beach, FLA, and Jonathan Ehrlich of Philadelphia, and second alternate is the pair of Joseph Dulka of Wilmington, Delaware, and Scott Cahill of Westchester. Both teams carded a 3 under 67. Heading the near-miss category at Rolling Green was the Aronimink Golf Club pair of Corey Siegfried and Joseph Fabrizio Jr., who carded a 2 under 68. There was a neat pairing of Ben Pichet, Gap's 2017 Junior Player of the Year, and his Pioneer Athletic Conference rival JT Spina. They matched par with a 70. Pichet, a 2-time District 1 Class AAA champion at Springford, and Pope John Paul II's Spina had wrapped up their scholastic careers less than a week earlier playing in the same foursome in the final round of the PIAA Class AAA Championship at the Heritage Hills Golf Resort in York County. I was vaguely aware that the U.S. Amateur FourBall Championship had replaced the U.S. Amateur Public Links Championship on the USGA calendar when Radnor's Bryn Walker and Council Rock North's Madeline Hare qualified for a trip to Bandon Dunes in the middle of their junior year scholastic season in the fall of 2014. Next thing I knew, I'm standing in the newsroom at the Daily Times the following May watching them play in the quarterfinals of the inaugural U.S. Women's Amateur FourBall on TV. They reached the semifinals before falling. It was a remarkable run for a couple of high school kids who are now stalwarts on their college teams, a Walker at North Carolina and Hare at Penn State. It was a great experience for them and a bit of an eye-opener for me as to the possibilities that the U.S. FourBall presented. That's why all that craziness Monday and a little bit of Tuesday at Waynesborough and Rolling Green is perfectly understandable.